I'm still deciding whether it is a benefit, a responsibility, or a dress code for your personality.
I do not hate the magic. I just want to know what it costs.
I hate that the magic works on me a little, but it does. It makes Canva feel like there is an actual emotional experience to working there.
The magic can wait until the recruiter calls. Where are the senior product manager jobs?
So the magic is working. You're just using it all differently. Welcome to Talent Out Loud, the show where we take real-world recruiting content and listen to how different kinds of talent actually hears it, how they perceive it, how it moves them to action or not. Today, we're going to look at Canva's career homepage, culture page, benefits, way of working page, all that belonging content through the lens of experienced senior project managers. Canva gives them plenty to react to. A product used at enormous global scale, big crazy goals, flexible work, specific benefits, equity, belonging, a two-step plan connecting company growth with doing good. And sitting above all of this is the phrase that Canva uses to describe the employee experience: Canva magic. Canva seems to have taken the place of Spotify as everybody's kind of favorite employer brand, and I can see why. Gorgeous creatives, lots of users, crazy events, lots of publicity. Gosh, lots of people working remotely and seem to be smiling into cameras and talking about how great it is to work there. Now, the four voices you are about to hear are not real. They are synthetic. Each one is based on a larger virtual panel representing four very different ways that talent approaches an opportunity. They're not real. In fact, I have no bearing on what they say whatsoever. None of this is my opinion. I'm simply here to build the virtual panels, feed them through the system, and find out how they see this exact same content. It's kind of like that situation where everybody's touching the elephant and everybody sees a different picture. Everybody gets something different. The goal is to model plausible audience reactions and make the differences easier to hear. The question isn't whether Canva has a distinctive culture or not. It really does. It's obvious that it does. The question is what that culture helps an experienced product manager believe and what it actually makes them do next. Let's meet the panel.
I'm Claire, and I'm pretty good at what I do, which means I hear from lots of recruiters. This is the sound of my voice.
I'm Marcus, and I'm very skeptical of whatever it is you're trying to pitch me. This is the sound of my voice.
I'm Nora, and I'd be willing to consider your open role. This is the sound of my voice.
I'm Ben, and I'm very actively applying to jobs. Almost any job. This is the sound of my voice.
Now, before you started testing the claims, what did Canva make you feel this company was?
Serious, ambitious, very aware of its own personality. The scale got my attention. This is not a company trying to make a modest product sound world-changing. But I understood the importance of Canva before I understood the importance of the role.
It felt confident, not just successful, confident that working there is a particular kind of experience. The culture is probably real. Nobody accidentally creates this many internal phrases, rituals, values, and enthusiastic people. It also sounds demanding.
It felt alive. Most large technology companies make themselves feel competent. Canva makes itself feel human. The employee stories and belonging details helped. It was not just the word inclusive sitting next to a cheerful photograph.
It felt worth applying to. Recognizable product, big company, flexible work, equity, real benefits. My first response was not, let me fully understand the culture. It was, do they have a senior product manager opening?
So no one bounced. But you were not all pulled forward by the same thing. Claire saw a company worth investigating. Marcus saw claims worth testing. Nora saw a place she could begin to imagine herself. And Ben saw a credible opening worth finding. Let's jump directly to that phrase. What did each of you think Canva meant by Canva magic?
I thought they meant the combination: creative energy, people feeling connected, a clear personality, support when life gets complicated, work that feels important. I do not think any one of those things is the magic. It is what they might feel like together. And yes, that works on me a little.
That is a generous amount of assembly work you just did for them.
Maybe, but emotional language is allowed to be emotional. Not every part of a career site has to read like product documentation.
Agreed, but Canva also says every employee helps shape the magic. At that point, I want to know whether it is an invitation or a responsibility. There is a difference between contributing to the culture and being responsible for keeping it cheerful.
That part made me pause too. Can I shape the culture quietly? Does strong work count? Or does active role mean I need to be visibly participating in the Canva experience? I want to belong without performing belonging.
A strong culture can be a real advantage. Shared standards can improve decisions. Shared language can reduce friction. A company with a clear personality may attract people who work well together. But magic becomes useful to me only when it changes how the work happens.
This episode is brought to you by Choosable.ai. What if you could hear how the talent you want most might react to your career site, job posts, recruiter outreach, or employer brand messaging before you put it into the world? That is what Choosable.ai synthetic panels are built to do. We create realistic AI-modeled talent audiences, then use them to pressure test what your content makes people believe, doubt, ignore, or want to know next. It is not a replacement for real research. It is a faster way to stop guessing. Because the real question is not, do we like this content? It is, would the right people choose us because of it? Learn more at choosable.ai.
So put it into the work. What would Canva magic look like in a product meeting where people strongly disagree?
It would mean I could say, I do not think this will work, without feeling as though I had stepped outside the culture. Disagreement would not become a belonging test.
It would mean unwelcome evidence could change the decision. If customer research says the crazy big goal is wrong, can the goal change? Or does the research need to become more ambitious?
It would mean clear standards, clear decision rights, and no pressure to perform harmony. People could disagree directly, make the call, and remain aligned afterward.
The meeting would end with an actual decision. That is magical enough.
Marcus, which Canva claims made the magic easier to believe?
The ones with evidence. 18 weeks of parental leave, additional flexible leave, specific forms of support, employee collectives, religious accommodation. The benefits have numbers. I trust numbers more than sparkle. Those things tell me there may be something real beneath the phrase.
Exactly. The word alone would not do much for me. The support around it makes the warmth feel less invented. It suggests people are allowed to have lives.
The company's ambition also supports it. The culture is not presented as comfort for its own sake. It is tied to standards, growth, impact, and difficult work. That combination is potentially valuable.
Potentially?
Because the language also accumulates. Crazy big goals, hard work, outsized impact, challenges beyond your comfort zone. One of those can be energizing. Together, they begin to describe an operating model. Crazy big goals are attractive right up until everything becomes a crazy big goal.
Beyond your comfort zone can mean development. It can also mean nobody budgeted for support.
I like growth. I do not want discomfort to become the default setting.
So the panel is not arguing that the magic is fake. You are asking what it requires from the employees and whether the support is as strong as the ambition.
The magic may be real. Real things can still have side effects.
Claire, you said that you understood Canva's importance before you understood the role's importance. What's still missing?
The connection between product scale and individual authority. Canva has made the company feel important. I am still waiting to see whether the role is important. A product used by millions can still give one product manager a very small box. What decisions do I own? What can I change? What happens when I disagree with the direction? What would I get to do here that I cannot do in my current role?
Does outsized impact as a phrase help?
It helps me understand the stakes. It does not tell me my authority. Outsized impact sounds good. Outsized authority would sound better.
This is also why I slowed down at every voice is heard and respected. Every voice is heard. Fine. Which voices change the roadmap? Being invited to speak and being able to influence the decision are not the same promise.
And that matters to belonging too. I can feel personally welcomed and still be professionally ignored. For a senior product manager, I would need both.
Canva also tells employees to focus on their goals, and collaboration, and impact rather than titles and levels. How did that strike you?
I heard a potentially healthy low-ego culture. I also heard career opacity. A level tells me something about scope, decision rights, compensation, and what happens next. Wanting that clarity is not the same thing as being obsessed with status.
I have heard titles do not matter shortly before someone asks an employee to perform at the next level without being paid at the next level.
I understood the spirit. I still need to know how I grow. Clarity about the future makes an opportunity safer to consider.
I found the job by searching the title, so it mattered at least once.
Would any of that stop you from applying?
No, it would give me questions for later. That may be the big difference here. I do not need the entire case before entering the process. I need enough evidence that the process might lead somewhere useful.
And I need enough evidence that entering the process is worth the time.
Same content, different threshold.
This episode is brought to you by Employer Brand Labs. Most employer brands do not fail because they are wrong. They fail because they are interchangeable. The same promises, the same values, the same people-first culture language candidates have learned to skim right past. Employer Brand Labs helps companies find the sharper truth, why the right people should choose you, why the wrong people should opt out, and how your recruiting content can make that choice easier. Career sites, job posts, recruiter outreach, social content, internal alignment, all built around one question. What makes you meaningfully worth choosing? Learn more at employerbrandlabs.com.
Let's stay there. What would each of you actually do after seeing these pages?
Search open roles. If there is a senior product manager job in a location that works, I scan the requirements, look for salary, and apply if I meet enough of them. I am not emotionally investing until someone confirms I am in the process.
I would search the roles too. Then I would investigate the product area, manager, scope, level, location, and current product team. I would look at the backgrounds and progression of current and former Canva product managers. I would not apply yet.
I can do that after someone calls.
You can. My application carries a different cost. I already have a strong job. I am not starting a process until I believe the opportunity may justify the disruption.
That is fair. I am playing a different game. My application is not a declaration of love. It is a request for more information.
That line matters because recruiting teams often treat the application as evidence that the messaging worked.
The message did work. It got me to the jobs. That does not mean I believe every promise or have decided I want to work there.
And my failure to apply immediately does not mean the message failed. Canva earned investigation from someone who was not actively trying to leave. That is meaningful movement.
Nora, what would movement forward look like for you?
I would keep clicking. I would look at roles, employee stories, LinkedIn profiles, and how specific teams work. I would probably save an appropriate opening. The content made Canva feel more imaginable. That matters because I was not urgently looking for a reason to leave.
Marcus?
I would leave Canva's website, not because it failed, because it gave me claims worth checking. I would look at reviews, tenure, former product managers, leadership changes, and what people say after they stop using the internal vocabulary.
Then would you apply?
Possibly. Skepticism is not a bounce. Sometimes it is a longer route to the same button.
So the same pages may produce an immediate application, a saved role, a deeper investigation, or a verification process outside the company's own content. All four are movement forward. None of them means exactly the same thing. What would most change your reaction? Claire?
Show me what a senior product manager owns. The product problem, the decisions, the boundaries, the team, the authority. Canva has shown me the size of the stage. I still need to see the part I would be allowed to play.
Marcus?
Show me the culture under pressure. A launch fails. A leader's idea is wrong. Capacity drops. The quarter goes sideways. What happens next? That is where the values become more than posters with unusually good typography.
Nora?
One real senior product manager. I want to hear what their normal week feels like, how their manager works, when they felt stretched, how the company responded when things became difficult. I need one real person to make the picture settle.
Ben?
Salary, then location, requirements, and whether there is a crazy big take-home assignment.
The man has priorities.
The company has a budget. I would like to meet it before round 6.
Final answer. Did this move you closer, push you away, or leave you where you were? We'll start with you, Claire.
Closer. Canva earned investigation. That is genuine credit. But it showed me the opportunity available to Canva more clearly than the opportunity available to me.
Closer with homework. The concrete details earned trust. The absolute claims created questions. I am interested. I am simply not outsourcing verification to the word magic.
Closer. The content made Canva feel human and possible. I can imagine myself there. I am not yet sure whether I am imagining the real company or its happiest version.
Closer to the apply button. Recognizable company, real product, strong benefits, flexible work. The magic can wait until the recruiter calls.
Canva's culture content is doing real work, no question. It gives the company a recognizable employment identity. The panel saw ambition, scale, flexibility, belonging, and a culture specific enough to provoke an actual reaction. It seems to me that the magic works, but it does not move everyone in the exact same way. It gives Nora emotional permission to imagine herself in that role. It gives Claire enough company-level upside to investigate while leaving her role-level questions more unanswered. It gives Marcus credible proof alongside claims he wants to test under pressure. And it gives Ben more confidence in an application that he's willing to submit before making a deeper commitment. And that difference matters. An application does not always mean desire. More research does not mean rejection, and a warm emotional response is not meaningless simply because it cannot yet answer every single practical question. The useful question for recruiting teams here is not only whether people like the culture story, it's what the culture story allowed each kind of person to believe or do next. Canva offers talent magic. The harder question is what happens when the magic has to become a job. Thanks so much for tuning in to Talent Out Loud. Check out next week where we talk about a tiny little shoe company called Nike and what they're doing to engage senior software engineers. Look, here's the reality. Podcasts are really hard to get new users to hear and find. It's really hard to search for podcasts, and people don't do it very often. So if you got something out of this, I'm asking you as a personal favor to let someone know about this episode or about this show. Someone who thinks that the usual way of doing recruiting is going to be enough going into 2026 and 27 and beyond, because between you and I, it's not. We need this kind of perspective, whether it's via AI and LLMs or not, to help us tell the story of our company and attract the talent that's going to help us grow our companies. Thanks so much for listening. I'm James Ellis, and I'll see you next week.